And here is Bitcoin Gold. Bitcoin Gold escaped, breached out of this bullish downward pointing symmetrical triangle in an impulsive manner. It looks very similar to Bitcoin Cash. Okay. Now, one thing that I want to do is draw some lines here. When I draw a line and I see a channel forming, then it's pretty good bet that there's an impulse going on. Okay. And I'm going to remove this, otherwise it'll get too busy. And that impulse is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what happens after 5 waves? You get an ABC correction. Now, even if you didn't even know this, try and see if you can differentiate a correction type. And the best way to know that there's a correction is when it looks really like a 3-wave. Does it look like a 3-wave? Well, let's check it out. This ABC looks like a 3 waves. 1, 2, 3. And then this 1, 2, 3 looks like a 3-wave. And this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is occurring. So we're looking at A, B, C. Let me zoom in. Let me zoom back out and take a picture of it so I can do the summary. So if this is an ABC, because it looks very 3-wave-ish, then C has to have 5 waves. So do we see 5 waves? Let's do some chart microscopy. This look, I mean, this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I mean, it's screaming it at you. I am a correction. And all of these are in my tutorials, my dear friends. If you can maybe take a look and repeatedly just view the tutorials and then practice. You know, when I was a kid in Korea, when you didn't study well, yeah, your parents would actually bring you to school as a kindergartner, and I read this in the book, Steinbeck's book, The Good Earth. Beautiful book, very similar, exactly where your mom or your dad typically would bring you to your school, and then the father would say to the teacher, please, please, please beat my child, beat him until he learns something. Imagine if that happened in the U.S. And corporal punishment was real and live back then in Korea too. And you can learn through pain, or you can learn through just self-motivation because you desire to learn. I think the latter is better, obviously. And if you desire to learn technical analysis, you got to buy that book, Elliott Wave Principle, and you got to make a commitment. It has to be a commitment where you're going to say, I'm going to better myself, I'm going to learn this, I'm going to work with Hedgen, I'm going to follow his tutorials, I'm going to practice labeling on my own because I want to make massive profits. And the only way to make massive profits is not to follow me, is not to keep asking me for updates, which I don't mind because that's part of the learning curve. But to take that initial initiative to say, I'm going to start studying the charts, I'm going to start learning how to count the Elliott waves, and the tutorials that I've put in contain all of this. How do you know that an ABC is complete? Well, you go to the C wave and start seeing if you can count 5 waves. Just like what I did just earlier on the post for Bitcoin Cash. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. It could be done any moment. Okay. Now look at the MACD, it's oversold. Beautiful. Now look at Bitcoin Gold to BTC pair. This is like delicious. Notice how I think I've got something. One of the key attribute of a technical analyst has to be observation. You have to be very observant. And I think maybe that's my background training as a scientist, where I toiled and toiled as a graduate student in the laboratories as a molecular geneticist. And observation is key, and I think I'm onto something where now I'm noticing that the USD pair is always ahead in price progression, ahead of the BTC pair, and this is no different again here with Bitcoin Gold. Okay, so look at this. I mean, I could do a whole bunch of things with this. You should be able to do the same by now, at least at a rudimentary level. Draw some lines. Here's a bowl. Beautiful. And now the bottom here is still hasn't invalidated the bowl. To me, invalidation of the cup and handle occurs when it goes lower than the lowest point of the bowl of the cup. I mean, have you seen bull flag, extended bull flag longer than this? I haven't. I mean, this is like screaming out for observation that I'm ready to explode. And this is like not a cup and handle, but one of those Asian tea ladle. That's what I'm going to call this. Ladle of wealth. And one way to look at this to me is there could be one more low low, but that shouldn't faze you. You can look at the big picture. Look at how you're combining chart pattern recognition with now Elliott waves. And I think this could happen very quickly because of what? What syndrome? The hurry up and wait syndrome. Again, another aspect of observation, which has to be a keen attribute of any technical analyst. But when you observe these nuances, trends, and attributes, it can be very valuable in attaining wealth. So I think on this, 0.060 would be the reasonable target. And I'm sorry, I need to go back to the USD now. I forgot to do the projection. Here it is. Okay, so from here, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC. Now we are on, this is 1, 2, we are on 3. So by now you should know I'm following support and resistance lines. I'm putting 2 on this support zone. I'm taking 3 to this peak here, prior peak. I'm going to set 4 on this lower peak where it could be, where is the small support zone, and I'm flying it high to a new high, all-time high of 560. And again, the way I see it is, I'll take a picture of this first. So here's a longer term perspective. Gotta really shrink it down. So there's 1, 2, all of these waves, everything up to here will probably be, and it'll go higher. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, sorry, 1, 2, 1503. And you might be thinking, WTF? I told you something big was coming. This is the confluence of Elliott waves and chart pattern recognition was saying something big is going to happen. Confluence of chart pattern recognition and Elliott waves was saying and screaming at me, saying something big is approaching. And the confluence of Elliott waves and chart pattern recognition was saying this cannot be an accident. And this cannot be a brief, momentary rise. Something huge, something really, really big is coming. I don't know exactly what's causing it or what news or event will be used to justify it. I have no idea on that side. In order to know that, you need a crystal ball. Don't have it. And whatever it is, and it's going to take a while. And in that progression, there will be significant corrections. It has to. And that's going to be very healthy. I mean, look at this. It went all the way up and it went down 86%. So let's see. I think as a technical analyst, I mean, you can take the level of this degree of trend or the white wave degree of trend and trade on that. It's all up to you. It's all up to you, depending on what level of time and energy you want to put into it. But my motto quite often is less hedging involved in trading in and out, more profit. Because I'm quite often my worst enemy as a trader. Because my emotions and the sneaky greed and fear have a very clever way of sneaking up on you without you even noticing it and cause you to do bad decisions. So let's see what happens.